Alright, so I don't know what to call it. I think I call it like the drunken flyer or some shit. I don't know, but it's not like that. But alright. But that's what it looks like. And one of those 420 nights, so bear with me here. Alright, so I'm using a size 10 hook here. Get that in there. It's a Hayabusa size 10 here. It's really sharp Japanese hooks. They work really well. I guess it's kind of like a dry fly, but it's kind of like a wet fly at the same time. If you make it really small, I guess it would be a dry fly. So I'm going to start using like 8 weight uni thread here, black. And what I'm going to do is just get that going on the hook shank. I always start a quarter of the way down on the hook shank, so I have enough area up there to finish up the fly when I'm doing dry flies. Again, this is kind of like a wet dry fly in a weird way, because it doesn't really last that long before it gets wet because it's got a lot of material on it. So I'm going to wrap that down to the end of the hook here, avoiding that tip of the hook, and right to the bend. I'll stop there. Then I'm just going to grab some Marabou quills here. You can use whatever colors you want. Just have fun with it. Just start getting crafty. That's what this whole fly is about. It's just kind of a junk fly in a way, I guess. So I'm going to I want to be the length of the hook shank here. I'm going to put that on top here. Put a little bit towards me so I can get a couple of loose wraps on it on top there. 1, 2, pull down on that. Let's just see. Do we get a good enough tail? Yeah, I could have made it a little longer maybe, but that's good enough for this. All right, now I'm going to wrap it in there pretty tight. Because this is the only place that it's really going to be wrapped in. Down here, so I definitely want to make it good. I'm kind of pulling the tail up, on top of the hook shank. That's about good enough there. Now I'm pull back and I'm going to lock that Marabou in. I don't know, 5 or 6 wraps in here and just kind of lock it up against the other stuff I made there. And then I'm going to add some brassy wire. You can add whatever color wire you want to add. Be crafty with it. And I'm just going to go all the way up to where I got that empty spot on the hook shank there. I don't really care where it goes. As long as it, I might pull it back a little bit. There we go. And then just basically getting that in. Oops, didn't mean to smack the camera there. Alright, and then trick to this fly is now, instead of cutting off this marabou, I'm just going to start spinning it up there. And you see how now I got like a chenille or whatever material you want to call it or whatever. I'm ready to go, and I'm just going to wrap that onto the hook like it's the material that I need. Or like the hackle, everything. It's just right here. It's doing it for you. If it gets a little thicker towards the thorax, then that's good. That's what you want. I'm trying to keep it out of here. That might be even too much of a wrap there, but we'll just do it for sake. Look here, 1, 2, do 3 wraps on the top of it here. Pull it back. Make sure I'm away from that eye right there. See? Do 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna do 4 or 5 to get it in there good. All right, and then now I just want to cut that really close. As close as I can get in there, because I don't want that little bump there if I can avoid it. And then I'm going to take my brassy wire here. I went that direction, so I'm going to go this direction with it. And I'm just going to try to make it look a little bit buggy. The marabou sticking out and everything is going to make it look really cool anyways. It just floats through the water perfect. It's almost like it's almost like a peacock girl in a way. Alright, so we'll wrap that up there. And then I'm just going to do 1, 2, 3 wraps on there. Pull it back. I'm going to pull everything back here. Do 3, 1, 2. Still trying to pull everything back there. 3. And then I'll just helicopter this off. It's always the hard part. There we go. And then now you can either use the piece that you just cut off here and use these pieces right there, which look pretty buggy and which look pretty cool. I could use them for purpose sake, or I can use a new piece just to make it look even cooler. So I'll use a new piece here. And I'm just building the wings now to the fly. So it's got a body, it's got some ribbing, it's got a tail, it's got a thorax, and then we're gonna build a head with the thread. And then you pretty much got yourself a fly with only like one material mainly, and that's the marabou. So I want to go not all the way back, but what will happen is it's going to go up like this. So I want to go about 3/4 of the way there. That's about good. And I'll do 2 loose wraps in there. Make sure it's up off the eye of the hook there. I have to lift it up like I just did. That's why I kept them loose at first, so I can move everything up there. All right, those look like some good wings there. I'll make sure everything's up on the top there. Pull it tight. Do like one. Man, I gotta make this thing shorter. I'm gonna hit the camera. 1, 2, 3. Pull it over on the top here a little bit more. Fool around with it here. Try to make it look like it's on the top the right way there. All right. And then I'll pull back on everything here. Make sure that eye is clear. Go 1, 2, 3, 4. If you can see, I'm kind of building up like the head right now of the fly. I just don't want that little piece there. I want that out of there. Can't see that. Hold on. Just trying to get it out of there. I always want a clean hook when I get to the water. I hate trying to like push a little thin piece of tip it through. Pain in my butt tonight. All right. So I'm just gonna cut that off now, as close as I possibly can get it. There we go. And then, like I was saying, I'll pull everything back here. And I'm gonna start wrapping from the tip a little bit here because I want to gradually build it up towards the back. And I'm pinching in those fibers there. That's about as far back as I need to go. And then I'll add just a little bit of super glue, just a tiny bit. You can really whip finish this a lot and you don't have to add the glue. I'm just adding it so that it's in there. So a little bit of super glue. I always wrap it ahead of time before I put the whip finisher on there. You can actually build it up a little bit nicer here before I put the whip finish tool on it. Again, I just want to make sure I'm not going over that eye at all, which I'm not. And then you want to make it like gradually fatter towards the back. If you got UV resin, you can finish it off with UV resin and give it a nice black head on there, and it'll look a little more like a buggy thing. But you don't have to. So I'm just gonna whip finish it in there. Like 1, 2. I'm trying to go to the back here a bit. 4. There we go. Pinch that one in there. And then again, I'm trying to get towards the back of it here, so I build it the back nice and fat. 2, 3. And then imagine what it looks like. The hook eye is still good and clean. Yep. And then yeah, I'll leave it at that. That's good. And then that's it. I mean, it's just a junk fly, I guess. And but they work, and it's like almost like using a woolly bugger. Once it hits the water, this stuff will just start flowing out in the current. And even under here, this little bit of marabou, like the body, you can actually cut that off if you want there. It goes down there a little bit. But yeah, it's just a really simple fly to tie up, and yeah, it's not that hard to tie, and they work. Just tie them up in different colors, whatever colors work wherever you live, whatever waters you're fishing, and try them out. I don't know, just call it the marabou junk fly or something. I don't know.